Boom, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. For the first time in weeks, admittingly, I am actually pretty excited to do this video. Not that I'm like, not that I dread making any video, but some weeks are tougher than others, okay? Especially when you're an Iowa Hawkeye fan. I know there's been other fan bases who comment on the videos and go, oh, I would, too bad your team is only 8-2. Too bad your team is only 6-1. Must be tough to be a Hawkeye fan. And I get it. I do. I really do understand. But sometimes it is very difficult. Okay. I showed the stat that was put up during the Iowa versus Rutgers game that was posted in the 247hawkeye.com Facebook group. Great poll, that Iowa is the first team since 96 it was, to be 7-2 or have 7 or more victories, something like that. I'll see if I can find it again. If you want to know for sure, it's in my post-game Iowa versus Rutgers video. When averaging less than 20 points per game. And it's astonishing. It is astonishing. And that stat shows exactly what it is and why it is difficult at times to be an Iowa Hawkeye fan. But this week, and why sometimes it's not the most, enthusiastic feeling for me to do videos. Not that I dread them ever, but this is a tremendous honor to do this. But I think you guys get the point. This week, I am super pumped. It was a great game for the Iowa Hawkeyes, probably their best performance of the year against Rutgers. I would categorize Rutgers as a slightly above average football team. We'll see how they finish the year. Now, with that being said, and while we did see, especially in the second half, by the way, this is the Big Ten Whip Around Show. I hope you guys consider smashing that subscribe button, at the very least, like, comment, share. If you're not an Iowa Hawkeye fan and you're here watching this video, I do still hope you consider hitting that subscribe button, because I do this video every week for football, and I believe I'm going to be doing it for basketball as well. But when it comes to Iowa football, and they did have a much improved second half versus a pretty good Rutgers defense. You guys know I showed the stats in my Iowa versus Rutgers preview. It was good to see. It was a pleasant surprise. Now, I saw some Facebook posts that made me gag a little bit regarding the Iowa offense. And this is what happens across all fan bases, and Iowa is no different. When you have a specific negative production, such as the Iowa offense, that week in, week out is the case, when they actually show a slight bit of life and contrariety, you have the ability, some people do, and even I fall victim to it, to overreact. And I can't allow that, okay? Iowa's offensive performance, while much improved and definitely a pleasant surprise. I predicted Iowa. I think I had them scoring 15 points. My game prediction was 15-10 for the game. It was barely average. Okay, guys, it just was. it still was 5 points below the preseason average that was set by Gary Barta to Brian Ferentz, the very manageable 25 points per game. It was still below that. So I don't want Iowa fans to go crazy with that, but it was a step in the right direction. Okay. And if I were to grade the Iowa football performance on defense as a whole, I would give it an A+. Rutgers never crossed the 50-yard line into Iowa football territory. They were sensational all the way around. Special teams, I'd probably give a B-, maybe a solid B. You know, Drew Stevens did have the missed field goal, and we did not see kickoff or punt return go crazy. But Tory Taylor had a pretty good day, and the special team unit did not give up any big plays. Iowa is now 8-2. They are ranked in the coaches poll, which I will pull up, the coaches poll and AP poll. Let's go ahead and get that pulled up right now. But they are not ranked in the AP poll. And I've said this quite a few times that the media no longer has any respect for how Iowa football wins football games. They just don't. And I understand it. They have Iowa football fatigue. I mean, I really do understand it. So, you know, Iowa being 8-2 is like the same as Georgia or hell, even, yeah, I mean, just look. I mean, when we look at the rankings, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But just before it gets pulled up, it's like it's like Georgia being 6-4. That's how people view it. You know, that's how the media views it. Here is the new ranking: Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Ohio State 3. Iowa nowhere to be found. You have Kansas State 7-3, and you cannot tell me that you legitimately believe that Kansas State is better than Iowa. Oklahoma State 7-3. Liberty, Tennessee 7-3, Notre Dame, Arizona 7-3, Utah 7-3. Okay. Now, I would say I know Utah has had a tougher strength of schedule. I get it. Okay. Now, Iowa's schedule has actually ended up being a little bit more difficult than what was thought in the preseason. And why I always say you cannot make your predictions based off of the schedule, because you don't know who is going to be what when the season actually starts. You just don't. And then we see here in the coaches poll, we see Iowa get a little bit more respect because coaches tend to be able to overlook deficiencies and go, well, you know what? They're still a damn good football team. They're still 8-2. They still have a dang good defense in special teams. Offense schmanchments. Offense schmomchens. So I want to see if maybe I can find Iowa's strength of schedule. See if I can find that. So I found this. I don't know how current it is. Updated Sunday, November 12th. So I think it's pretty dang current. So here it is. Purdue has the number 1 toughest schedule. That's kind of crazy. I'm a little surprised by that. Kansas State 10th. And the College Football Playoff Committee does look at this. They do. I'm just watching the Maryland and Nebraska highlights in the background. Nebraska, which I'll get to, the thing that will continue to have them be a mediocre football program is not taking care of the football. And I said that last week, and I'll say it again. until it's all fine and dandy to have a quarterback that can run the ball and provide pressure based off of the skills and traits that they do have on the defense. But if you don't have a quarterback that consistently takes care of the football, which Nebraska against good football teams has not in years. Adrian Martinez, Sims now, and now Harburg or whatever his name is, Herkberg. You have to be able, especially in the Big Ten, where they have some of the top defenses in the entire country, top 10 units. You have to be able to take care of the football. Let's see. Illinois 29th, Iowa State 36. Iowa has, let's see here, Guru rank. So I think the Guru rank is like the rankings that they have for them as a whole to this point in the season. They have them at 25th. So they have Iowa at the 41st toughest strength of schedule, which is not bad. Honestly, I'll take it. You know, look, they played Northwestern, who's at 42 and much, much, much better than people expected. And you guys will be stunned to see where I have them in my tier rankings. You guys know I don't do power rankings point blank. It's a tier system, which makes it a lot more accurate, but I do still put it in a power ranking that I would have for the most part. Iowa played Northwestern, Penn State, who's ranked 6th, Northwestern 73rd, Iowa State 36th. This is I guess this would be let's read what this is. Our college football strength of schedule rankings represent the average difficulty of those opponents that each team has faced or will face during the 2023 season. The strength of an opponent is determined by their ranking in our composite college football rankings. A low opponent average ranking indicates a difficult schedule, whereas a high opponent average ranking suggests an easier schedule. So the more red, the more difficult, the more green, the easy. So Iowa is light red. So it's a somewhat difficult schedule. I mean, look, they had Northwestern, Iowa State, who's 34th, Penn State, who is 6th in the Guru ranking. They play Illinois, who is 63rd. I don't understand in the Guru ranking. Who else have they played? Well, let's just see if we can click on, let's do the Guru ranking. I'm very interested in this. Let's do this. This will be an easy way to see. So they played Penn State. So Penn State would be the only team that they have played that is inside the top 25 on this Guru ranking. They played Iowa State, who's 34th, Wisconsin, Rutgers 48th, Minnesota 52nd. They will play Nebraska. They will play Illinois. Played Purdue. So that's not bad. I'll take it. So listen, guys, Iowa, just to get this moving along here, Iowa will, that's interesting. I think I'm going to reference that moving forward. Iowa will, with the victory over Rutgers, they have claimed at least a share of the Big Ten title. If they win next week, they will play in the Big Ten championship. And look at this, guys. I cannot even believe how fortunate the Iowa Hawkeyes have been 2 weeks in a row. We have seen massive, massive, massive upheaval. By the way, guys, I am also going to talk about Penn State getting rid of their OC. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about that right now. I'm going to bookmark this this website here. So you guys know that I have been saying or questioning how much longer would Penn State fans and the school as a whole stick with James Franklin not beating top 25 teams, and more specifically Ohio State and Michigan, because the fans look at the recruiting that Penn State is able to do and they go, well, we should at least be able to beat them every now and again. We recruit just as well as they do. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. And so my line of thinking was completely on point. And James Franklin and Penn State parted ways with the offensive coordinator. Penn State fires offensive coordinator Mike Yurcich. So very, very, very interesting. And, I just want to say with regards to this firing, I can see why Penn State did it now, because essentially they know that they have a good chance of still having a good season, but they won't play in the Big Ten championship game. They won't win the Big Ten East. And, this is a perfect time to start looking forward to their next OC for next year. And who knows, maybe there's a coach on the roster who can already, who in the remaining games will show that he is the man for the job. But I posted on Facebook, is this the type of thinking that is required to be an elite program? Is the type of thinking that is Penn State or Michigan or Ohio State and leads to a decision such as this, firing an OC after a loss to Michigan? And believe me, guys, I've looked at Penn State's offensive stats. They're not that bad. They're not that bad. Is that the approach and mindset that it takes to be an elite football program? In the past, I have said that essentially you have two approaches, and they both have their pluses and minuses. You have the more Iowa approach, which is don't make rash decisions. Wait till the end of the season if you can. We look for loyalty and longevity above creativity and sexiness, I guess. And while that's a good mindset to have a steady program, that mindset also is not creative and ballsy enough to make certain decisions that could lead and be a home run hire, so big of a hire and such a slam dunk of a hire that you become a prominent top 10 football program, top 15 football program. But, you tend to have a more steady program. Conversely, you have the Alabamas, the Tennessees, you see this a lot in the SEC, where if the results are not there, and we saw this most recently with Tennessee, and like I said, we've seen it a lot across the country. If the results are not there almost immediately, people, the school of those programs will move on. But the negative, the drawback to making decisions like that is you open yourself up to dead periods of not being that great. And, you basically have a high likelihood of having multiple swing and misses. Okay. You're basically a home run hitter. So while you might bat 100, you have 40 home runs. You see what I'm saying? So it's, it is really interesting. And I honestly think that there's a perfect median. I don't see why you can't try to blend those two things and try to have calculated home run hits. So Penn State moving on. That is that. Let's move on here and look at the Big Ten. Ohio State smashed Michigan State. As I mentioned before, Penn State lost to Michigan. Let's just take a look at JJ McCarthy didn't have a good game either, but Blake Corum totally killed it. Drew Aller, 10 of 22, 70 yards, 1 INT. Not going to get it done. And that was pretty much that. So Penn State is they are out of contention. Here are the team stats for the game. They still had 2 more first downs than Michigan. And it's not like they got outgained massively. 287 to 238. So, but like I said, it just depends. I tend to be somebody who believes in trying to blend the two and be more calculated. I don't necessarily place, loyalty above creativity. Each situation calls for something different. And to me, I think it's better to evaluate the situation and try to come up with as informed and as calculated a decision as possible. So with regards to the way Iowa does things and the way Penn State or Alabama does things. Iowa defeated Rutgers. Definitely the best game of the year for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Awesome victory for them. Illinois defeated Indiana. Illinois has now won 2 straight. Maryland, in a walk-off, defeated Nebraska. Maryland improves to 6-4, 3-4 in the Big Ten. Nebraska moves to 5-5. Purdue. So that was one Big Ten West loss. Purdue defeated Minnesota by 19 points. Dropping Minnesota to 5-5, 3-4. Guys, I got to tell you, the only 2 Big Ten West programs that I feel are ready for next year with these new high-powered offense type teams coming to the Big Ten, USC, Oregon, Washington, is Wisconsin and Iowa. And Wisconsin, I'm still skeptical. Okay. Just because Luke Fickell won with Cincinnati does not mean he'll be able to consistently win in the Big Ten. 19-point loss for the Golden Gophers. Second Big Ten West loss. Now, it was an intra-division game or inter-division. And then Northwestern with the 14-point victory over Wisconsin. Guys, they beat Wisconsin better than Iowa beat Wisconsin. So Iowa beating Northwestern is looking like a better and better victory as the weeks go on. And look out for Northwestern, folks. I said this in my game preview of Northwestern, that they were really starting to get things put together. And this new head coach is moving them in the right direction. Ben Bryant had a tremendous game, 18-26, 195, 2 tubs, 0 INTs. Tanner Mordecai has not been the quarterback that was hoped for coming from SMU. And this is what I always say, guys, the Big Ten is a different conference. And the Big Ten and the SEC, top to bottom, are the 2 best conferences in all of college football. And they're only going to be even better. And, his stats for the year are 1,382 yards. Let's see. That's it? Man, this guy's been in college football for a minute. 3 tubs, 3 INTs. That is crazy. 1,382 yards. Fantastic victory for Northwestern, guys. Absolutely phenomenal victory. Cam Porter had a pretty nice day, 18 carries, 72 yards. Northwestern ran the ball pretty well, 129 yards. Wisconsin could not get anything on the ground. Braylon Allen, only 3 carries for 3 yards. Now, maybe he got injured. I have not watched the full highlights of the game. It says active. He has definitely had a down year, slightly. And, you know, you would think that the introduction of Luke Fickell would help, but Braylon Allen is like an old school type running back. He is a workhorse, and he would work more effectively for an Iowa style offense. First downs, 18 to 17, yards, 324 to 341. See, guys, it's not even necessarily about the yards. It's about being able to, it definitely, yards do count. Okay. They're a means to an end. It's about capitalizing on the opportunities that you have and ramming it down their throat when you get it inside the 20 and scoring points when you get down in the money zone, the money area. I would say anywhere below the 40, the 40-yard line, the opponent's 40-yard line. So that is that in the Big Ten. Very interesting week. Let's look at the top 25 football scores. I did already show you guys the updated rankings. Iowa in the ESPN College Football Power Rankings, I think, is 23rd. And in RJ Young of Fox Sports, they are 15th. Matter of fact, I do just want to show that really quick. Let's see. College football rankings. What? Oh, here it is. Yay. So this is RJ Young. He has his own podcast. He's moving up in the world, it looks like. I think he played at Nebraska, if I'm not mistaken. Michigan 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Washington 4, Florida State 5. And then he has Iowa at 15. And this is kind of where I see Iowa at, is like 15 to 18. And he writes, the Hawkeyes defense is one of the 4 best in the sport, and Iowa is a fair catch punt away from being a one-loss team. That's true. He's exactly right. So, top 25 scorers here. Louisville did defeat 2-win Virginia. Georgia with an impressive victory over top 10 Ole Miss. At the time, yeah, they were 9th at the time. Michigan defeated Penn State, as already said. Florida State with the nice victory over the Miami Hurricanes, who are 6-4 on the year now. Washington with the 35-28 victory over Utah. Oregon with the 36-27 victory over USC. USC definitely having a down year. They are not able to capitalize. I saw an article which compared USC and Iowa. Iowa having a fantastic defense, but no offense. And the article was about which coach in the country is able to get away, with murder, essentially. Which one of them are making fools of us? And it was between the defensive coordinator of USC and the offensive coordinator of Iowa. Now, Iowa is 8-2, USC 7-4. So I think if you're going to have one or the other, I think I would rather have a really great defense than a really great offense. But preferably, obviously, you would have both. So USC definitely does not have a good defense, and they need to get it figured out before they step into the Big Ten, because they will, if they continue like this, they will not be 7-4 in the Big Ten. They'll be more like 500. So Texas with the 29-26 victory over TCU, Alabama 49-21 over Kentucky, Oregon State 62-17 over Stanford. Unreal. And folks, Oregon State is a perfect example of what is possible for Iowa. I'm not saying being a 62-point scoring team, but they can get the type of athletes and recruits to have at least a productive offense. If Oregon State can do it, Iowa can definitely do it as well. Missouri with the impressive 36-7 victory over Tennessee. Very impressive. They are having a fantastic season. UCF with the shellacking of Oklahoma State. Unreal. 45-3 over then 15th ranked Oklahoma State. Texas Tech with the upset victory over Kansas 16-13. Oklahoma 59-20 over West Virginia. LSU 52-35 over Florida. Florida not having the season that they would have hoped. Arizona 34-31 over Colorado. Yet again, I was right, folks. Many people were getting crazy after Colorado defeated TCU, and I told you guys, not so fast, as Lee Corso would do. Not so fast. Just because they beat TCU, who happened to be good last year, don't mean a dang thing. They are 4-6 and will be lucky to win a bowl game. Only won one Big Ten game, or big Pac-12 game. Iowa with the 22-0 victory over Rutgers. Tulane 24-22 over Tulsa. North Carolina with the rivalry victory over Duke 47-45. And Kansas State with the 59-25 victory over Baylor. So the last few things here, I do want to show you guys the team stats and my tier rankings before we get out of here. NCAA football team stats. I just want to see where Iowa is at in the updated statistics for their defense. And the main one, I always tell you guys, it's not total defense for Iowa, it's scoring defense, because Iowa has a bend, don't break, but they still are 8th in the country in total defense. Wow. That is impressive. And like I said, Rutgers is a good defense too, 13th in the country in total defense. Right there, Rutgers. Nebraska, 17th. Iowa State, 28th. Wisconsin, 33rd. And lastly, let's look at the scoring offense right quick. And Iowa, 3rd in scoring defense. Wow, this may be as predicted. Guys, you always have to trust me, okay? I am obsessed with the Iowa Hawkeyes. I know what I'm talking about. I said that this defense may even be better than last year's defense. They are 3rd in scoring defense in the country, giving up 12.3 points per game. Incredible. All right, last, my Big Ten tier rankings. Ohio State 1, Michigan 2, Penn State 3. Tier 2, Iowa definitely first in the tier 2. When I originally did this, I had Maryland above Rutgers, but it's kind of hard for me to do that. You know, Maryland beating Nebraska is not like the craziest victory. And they have the same record. So, you know, and to me, all season long, I have pretty much viewed Rutgers and Maryland essentially the same, slightly above average. Okay, nothing crazy. Some people had them above Iowa, in my power rankings. And I'm like, no, they have not played anybody. And they have Maryland still on their schedule. I think Maryland or Rutgers should be happy to finish 7-5 this year. I think that'll be a good year for them. If they can beat Maryland, that it'll be a pretty solid year for them. So I still have Rutgers above Maryland after that, and then I bumped Northwestern up to tier 2 with the recent victories that they have had. Oh, looks like I have Rutgers there. Actually, you know what? That's not true. I did move Rutgers all the way down to tier 3. So I have Iowa, Maryland, Northwestern, tier 2, tier 3, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska. I really did think about keeping Rutgers in tier 2, but I just don't think they're there. And to tell you the truth, guys, if I were to, and this is kind of how I look at it and how I rank the teams. If Northwestern and Maryland played tomorrow, who would win? Well, I think that one would be a toss-up. I think Northwestern would have a better chance of winning on the road, but if it was a neutral game, I'd still probably go with Maryland slightly, okay? But that is how I come up with my rankings. If Illinois, why do I have Illinois above Minnesota and Nebraska? Because I think right now they would beat all the teams below them. If it was a neutral site game, I think they would beat them. And I think they may even beat Wisconsin as well. So there we have it, guys. That is my updated rankings. Tell me what you guys think, or my tier list. And it really is a toss-up because, you look at Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, and Nebraska, and they all have the same record. And, this late in the year, you may have a team have an impressive victory this week, but in the past, they've lost to this team, and this team. And, you can't overlook that. You just can't. So, but anyways, let me know what you guys think. The list is never going to be perfect, but I think this is a pretty good list, pretty accurate. Illinois and Northwestern are getting hot towards the end of the year. It's going to be a massive game for Iowa against Illinois, which I will definitely be doing the game preview for. I hope you guys consider smashing that subscribe button. At the very least, like, comment, share. You guys know the drill. If you guys want to donate to the channel, you absolutely can by just clicking that donation button on this video or going to my PayPal or Cash App link in the description. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy without facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye.